The governor delivered his State of the State message to the legislature today, but in letter form. In tonight's Politics at Large, Steve is live for us at the Capitol with the timing of this message, and some not a fan of it, Steve.
And you can hear the music behind me. You mentioned it was timed with the 175th anniversary of the state. The message, though, delivered with this letter, not a speech, and a YouTube clip for anybody that doesn't want to read this.
As I present the State of the State letter to the California legislature, admittedly, we are in darker times.
Governor Gavin Newsom's State of the State delivered with this video, accompanying a letter to the legislature calling the State of the State strong, also acknowledging its affordability crisis and his clashes with the presidential administration. Mr. Mayor, Steve Large, CBS 13. I asked former Assembly Speaker and longtime Newsom mentor Willie Brown about Newsom's no-show for a State of the State speech in front of legislators. Today, the State of the State was released in a video link. When you were Speaker, would that have been okay?
Of course.
You don't think it's disrespectful to the legislature for the governor not to speak and deliver this to them in person?
I think that Newsom will do whatever Newsom wishes to do. That's the nature of who Newsom is. After all, he was my mayor.
And you gave him his first job?
I gave him, his first time in government.
Right.
He had a job before.
Sure.
He was a bartender.
Brown served as Assembly Speaker for 15 years before becoming San Francisco mayor and appointing Newsom to his first office as a San Francisco parking commissioner. Does this look like the State of the State to you?
No, it does. Not only does it not look like the State of the State, he sends it out 3 days before the end of the legislative session.
Republican State Senator Tony Strickland called Newsom's State of the State letter disrespectful.
That's a slap in the face to all the legislature that have been working hard on a lot of these important bills going through the legislature right now.
Governor Newsom seemed to be carrying on the traditional speech when he took office in 2019. Only since the pandemic, he has not delivered his State of the State speech in the Capitol, even delivering his 2021 remarks from an empty Dodgers stadium. Now, Newsom's new tradition, a letter and a pre-produced video link.
Happy 175th, California.
And I got to just mention, Willie Brown still able to deliver a laugh line at the age of 91 when we caught up with him on the streets of Sacramento today. I did reach out to Governor Newsom's office about this story, and they said the reason he didn't deliver the speech was because no one wants to listen to a boring speech. And they also referenced that it really only became a tradition in the 1960s with Governor Pat Brown. So there's the story on the State of the State. Also happening, as we've been mentioning, along the lines with this 175th birthday party. And there's the birthday cake over there. I'm told there's enough cake here on 10th Street to feed 1,000 people. And there might be 1,000 people out here right now celebrating California's birthday tonight from 6 to 9. There's also going to be a light show, I'm told, later tonight when it gets a little dark.
So Steve doing double duty, but I got to circle back to Willie Brown. You're right, always delivering the line. But could it be that this former bartender was afraid that the audience wouldn't like the drink he was mixing? In other words, would he be afraid of the reaction to his speech?
There's a lot of problems in California. There's an affordability problem. There's a poverty problem. There are a lot of issues that, that now are in this letter that he's not on camera talking about. That's for sure.